I saw the sad girl in the rain. I don't know who needs to hear this, but know that someday it will get better. I know life sucks sometimes, I don't always like mine, but I know that someday it will get better. She was crying, real tears were streaming down her face. I could tell that she was in so much pain. So I reached out for a hug and she came in and snuggled up. I told her everything will be better someday. I don't know who needs to hear this, but know that someday it will get better. I know life sucks sometimes, I don't always like mine, but I know that someday it will get better. I don't know who needs to hear this, but know that someday it will get better. I might not know much about you or what you're going through, but I know that someday it will get better. On a cold afternoon,
Welcome, ladies and gentlemen, to the latest episode of I'm No Joe, your home for all things combat sports, and the place where every armchair quarterback can feel like Eddie Bravo. The views and opinions presented on the I'm No Joe channel belong solely to the person expressing them, no one else. If we say it, that means we meant it. That being said, this show does contain adult themes, adult content, and general shit that you shouldn't be letting your kids intake. Be advised, viewer discretion is recommended. Proceed at your own risk. You've been warned. Welcome, ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls, children of appropriate ages, to the latest episode of the I'm No Joe podcast, the show where every armchair quarterback can feel like Eddie Bravo. Today, as like some days, we have got a rounded out panel here to get into the shit talking and shenanigans, to break down the multitude of cards we have got going on this weekend for you. So before we get into all the fun and fiascos we have got to talk about for this upcoming weekend of fun, who the fuck is that guy? So for those of you who might have missed, we did actually manage to get a recap show done this weekend. Little bonus shows. Those are only here on YouTube. Those don't go to Anchor. We did get a recap show off this weekend, and this fucking kid showed up talking about all... Wait, he's over here. Talking about all sorts of shit. How you doing, kid?
What's going on, man?
How you doing, brother?
It's good. I'm not sleeping on the floor today like I was last week. So, I mean, things are looking up. Things are looking up.
Good deal. Good deal. So, across the octagon from me on the other side, as it were, the one and only Golf T Vapes. How you doing, brother?
Another lovely day in paradise. Get to talk kicky punchies and, well, kicky punchy related things. So that's an interesting one.
Hell yeah. So with the recap show on the channel, for you guys who might need to know what happened this weekend, I encourage you to go take a gander at that after the show is over. So we will jump right in to our news and recent events segment for this week. Not a whole lot going down this week, but what did come out this week, fairly interesting. So we're going to start off 2 weeks from now, Vegas 52, I believe it is, the March 12th card. Mandy Bohm is out for quote unquote undisclosed reasons. Miranda Maverick is stepping up on short notice to take on Sabina Mazo. So that will be an interesting matchup. Seems like they're finally starting to put some push behind Miranda Maverick again. So if she gets past Mazo on short notice, she's definitely going to start rolling again. Following up after that, we got word of what they are calling the first of hopefully many in the Japanese Legends League, the 1X show that was originally going to be in December of last year, but thanks to the Backstreet Boys fucking everything up, they ended up rescheduling it. It is now taking place on March 26th. Most folks know that card because that is where Demetrius Johnson is going to be taking on Rod Tang in a mixed event match. They're going to have 1 round only Muay Thai, 1 round MMA, 1 round Muay Thai, 1 round MMA. Weird shit. But on that card, they have recently added Shinya Aoki taking on Yoshihiro Sexyama Akiyama. For those of you who know anything about classic Asian MMA, those two gentlemen are legitimate fucking standouts, pioneers of Asian MMA for sure. That's going to be a fucking great match to watch, I feel like. Pushing out a little bit further, we talked a little bit about this last week, about Paul Daly basically announcing that his next fight rather is going to be his retirement, good, bad, or otherwise, no matter what the outcome is. He's one of those situations where he's had enough and he's just going to use his last fight as his retirement fight. And it seems like Scott Coker did not want to waste any time taking an opportunity to hold him to his word. after last weekend's devastatingly fucking brutal spinning heel kick, breaking 5 ribs and puncturing fucking lungs, Andrei Koreshkov has been immediately turnaround matched and will now see Paul Daly on his final match at home on the Bellator London card, May 13th. That's cold-blooded, man. Like, within days of each other, Paul says, my next fight's going to be my last. Koreshkov breaks all fucking Recon Tour's ribs and punctures his fucking spine with his own bones, or punctures his lung, rather. And then they're like, oh, so you're going to quit after this? Cool. We'll give you him then. And at home. Oof. I still think that's going to be a crazy fucking fight, but Scott Coker ain't doing nobody no damn favors with that shit. Speaking of fairly quick turnaround, though, the following day, the May 14th UFC card, we are going to see Nick Maximov coming fresh off of his latest win, meeting Andrei Petroski coming off of his latest win. Grappler versus grappler. Can't say I'm really excited about it, but I also very much understand why the UFC is making that match as well. Like, I see where they're going with this.
Good God, yeah, got to know which grappler to push.
Yeah, one of those two boys is going to get the rub coming out of that match, so long as they don't fucking Ngannou Lewis that fucking fight.
Nah, they'll just spend a lot of time on the ground. It'll be all right. It will not be exciting, but it will be all right.
Yeah, that's not going to be a really fun fight, but yeah, somebody's going to get the rub coming out of that one for sure. Excuse me. Speaking of getting the rub, though, we also saw during this last week, Rampage Jackson's next to youngest son, Raja, won his second amateur fight ever. This one by Anaconda choke. Very, very nicely done at that. Stating that even though his father was known for his power, he's going to walk a different path, as they say. He has no interest in utilizing his power that he very much clearly also has. He wants to use a little bit more of the finesse technique, which is kind of following in that Gracie-esque vein. We saw all those Gracies whose parents are fucking master BJJ tacticians, and the kids come out and they're like, you know what? I can do Brazilian Jiu-Jitsu. I want to box. And then we see the Crones and the Niemans and the fucking Croneries and the next generation who, once that family lineage is there, that family established dominance in that one particular field is there, the kids coming around are like, yeah, I already know how to do that. I want to try some other shit. We're at that point now. We've got Frank Mir's kids. We've got fucking, half a dozen of our favorite fighters, a dozen of our different favorite fighters' children's have now made it in. Fucking Lil Ferg, Kimbo's fucking son, is a little monster now as well. Like, we're at that point where the next generation that's coming through, it's essentially kind of like the last of the one-trick ponies, really. Their kids are starting to come through and embracing what made their parents famous, but evolving that much further. And it's cool to watch, I think.
Hell yeah. Not to mention, they're already masters of the craft by the time they're able to start fighting, because they've been doing it since they were in fucking diapers. So at that point, let's branch off into some shit. We're not masters of the craft. Let's show that anybody can do this as long as you put the fucking work in.
Yeah, it made me real happy because he told they interviewed him and he's like, I've got power. He's like, we can go to the gym and I can show you how many times I can lay dudes down in the ring and you just keep feeding me fresh ones and I'll keep laying dudes down. But you got to have more than that. You can't just be strong. Kid's got kidneys.
Well, I mean, I don't know. I think he also knows the way it was whenever his dad was in his prime. It was more of still that one trick pony to where I can take you to the ground or you can take me to the ground. I know how to get up. But that's about all I got. I'm a boxer. I'm not a wrestler, really. I can beat the fuck out of you 9 ways to Sunday. But the second you get me to the ground, I just know how to transition to get you off of me.
Right.
I mean, he knows his son knows with the way the evolution that MMA has gone. the only way that you can really do one trick pony shit is if you're a fucking wrestling or Brazilian Jiu-Jitsu god. Like, prime example, UFC, the Islam Makhachev, everybody out of fucking Dagestan. They're untouchable. As soon as you get them to the ground, that's their thing. That's a one trick pony, but they're damn good at it.
Yep. Yeah, the trick's real good. That's for damn sure. No, it's going to be real interesting to see how this next round evolves through, as it were. So not so fun side of the news here. Despite getting the win, which they have announced is going to stand from this last weekend, Adam Piccolotti has officially been suspended both by Bellator and the Connecticut State Athletic Commission. After the fight was over, he posted a video to Instagram of him during his training camp where he was going through the weight cut, going in and out of a portable sauna and puking over 20 times in the span of 4 hours and just looking like absolute fucking death. And his coaches and teammates literally just wiping him down with towels and physically dragging him along to keep going, not fucking worried about him at all. Like, you can see he's already in bad shape in the beginning of the video, and it gets worse. Like, it's bad. It's the equivalent of the male version of Cyborg's video of her taking fucking birth control pills and laying in the fucking bathtub crying, coated in fucking icy hot and shit. Like, it's fucking bad. And not only did the fucking commission, but the Bellator reps both also fucking stated this is a bit fucking much. Like, it's time to start officially looking into what can be done to stopping drastic weight cuts. Like, there has to be something. And at this point, now they're starting to, at least on paper, quote unquote, actively start to look into what they can do to prevent this.
It's crazy. Almost like USADA has set up things for this, but Bellator doesn't want to use them.
Right. God forbid somebody have a path to get something like this laid out, or even, not even USADA, just the regular California State Athletic Commission, which requires hydration tests both during camp, pre-fight weigh-in, and pre-fight, so they can regulate and adjust and calculate the percentage of body weight lost and determine whether you're healthy to actually fight, having tried to cut massive amounts in a short period of time. Like one Captain Crunch that we'll talk about later, who was bragging about cutting 35 pounds in 2 fucking days leading up to this weekend's card.
I mean, hey, Bert Kreischer can cut 40 in like 3 days. I mean, come on.
Yeah, he just stops drinking wine.
No, he stops drinking. He stops drinking, doesn't eat at night, takes an Ambien.
Right. Yeah.
It's a diet pill.
Yeah, basically. Yeah. Yeah. For burnt crystals, that's how you got to do it though. So I get it, That being said though, speaking of horrendous fucking news, it doesn't end there, unfortunately. We also got word this week that Triller, yes, Triller, has somehow managed to come up with the capital to buy majority stake ownership in Bare Knuckle Fighting Championship. So BKFC is now officially majority stake owned by Triller. The first decision that they have made as majority stake owners is to give, quote unquote, financial assistance to David Feldman to try and make a realistic play to steal Francis Ngannou away from the UFC. If that sentence alone doesn't tell you why Triller wasn't doing good on its own to begin with and even considered purchasing BKFC,
do they realize that they're not going to have enough fucking overhead to cover him?
no, never.
The UFC is still going to be lucky to keep him at this point, but to go to BKFC, I highly doubt it. The dude demands way too much money right now, and to be quite honest, he's earned it. He's fucking earned that right.
Yep.
I don't think they're going to be able to afford him. It doesn't matter how much capital you throw at him.
No.
Especially not, and I say how much you throw at him with the type of capital that is available to Triller and BKFC as a whole.
Right. No.
What happened? What I miss?
Triller has officially purchased majority owner stake share of BKFC, and their first declarative action is to quote unquote lend financial aid to David Feldman to make a realistic play to try and steal Francis Ngannou from the UFC.
Yeah, Triller's not going to be able to do that. That who shall not be named. His pay-per-view sold so shit that a company that made shit for him made something else for KSI, sold more in one day than the 5 months leading up to the pay-per-view. So clearly you can make money doing Triller, but they're not going to have the capital inflow to be able to pay Francis Ngannou. His best bet would be Bellator.
Well, even then, I don't think Bellator is going to have the financial capital to not only sign him to what he needs, but to sign him to the type of full-rounded payout. Because even though he's going to get his sponsors and shit back, Francis is going to want big money. And realistically, I think the only two players in the game who can offer him the type of big money that he's saying that he has to have to keep fighting are going to be the UFC or ONE. Because Chatri has real money, real deep pockets, and hugely beneficial investors who love to make giant things happen. And the Asian fan base loves giant fighters. Look at Alan Ngannou. Like, they love their big boys. Look at Brandon Vera. Like, big men do very, very well over there, and they encourage the Eurasian travel, which Francis would want to do anyway. I think Chatri and Dana are basically, realistically, the two at the table who are basically giving Francis his options of a future.
I really don't think after everything that's gone over the last couple of years with everybody talking about money and all that shit in the UFC, I highly doubt Francis will stay in the UFC because he's money hungry, which I get. Like, you've bust your ass, you've been a extremely dominant fucking champion inside the UFC. I would go where the money is. Like, my first thought, US is Bellator, because they're one of the only major organizations inside the US, at least, that offer sponsorships, and they might not be paying you the most amount of money per fight, but their percentage payouts for pay-per-views is a little bit more than what UFC pays, because UFC is getting scalped off the top of the 9 different fucking companies that they are directly working with.
Distribution company and shit, yeah.
So you're instantly getting scalped from that. And then Bellator has Francis can roll himself out with 137 fucking sponsors and make more money doing that than what he could just winning a fight in the UFC, not including a pay-per-view payout, fucking a win bonus, any of that shit. He can make more money just on sponsors from Bellator than he can making money just on a fight.
True.
Well, not to mention those sponsors would actually fight over him because of who he is right now.
Yeah,
When
he's fair game for everybody to go after again, sponsor wise.
That would be huge for him. They're like, there's so much money just in sponsorships for him alone, and the amount of people that would be cooing and con. Dude, that dude would be out to fucking dinner every night with somebody else trying to fucking woo him into saying, "Here, let me put my name on your shorts."
He'd be wearing a robe that looked like he was from NASCAR with all the fucking patches as he walked out to the fucking ring.
Yeah, I mean,
one of them long ass flowy fucking robes with just patches all down that bitch.
The Ric Flair robe.
Yeah, I mean, that's what I'm saying. Just patches all across that motherfucker, looking like a quilt.
I mean, but realistically, that would be a solid game plan, because then regardless, if you do 1 fight or 10 fights that year,
right?
As long as
money,
and as long as you're staying consistent on sponsorship agreements, you're rolling in money, just fucking passive income monthly, essentially, from who knows how many different sponsorships he could get. Like, I'm sure there's a couple fucking big name companies that would drop a couple $100,000 just to have that motherfucker wear their gear with their name on it. That right there, just one of those is paying him more than one fight in the UFC. Guarantee he can get $700,000 or $800,000 plus contracts.
That and the other big selling point, because we're apparently selling Francis on getting out of the UFC. Scott Coker has already said he has no opposition to his fighters boxing. Dana's already said he doesn't give a shit who's asking Francis to go box. Nobody goes boxing without the UFC's permission, and the UFC's not in the industry, or not, what did he say? Not in the business of sending our fighters to other sports right now. So shit, Dana's trying to take his toys and go home at the moment and using it as a negotiation tactic, basically.
Yeah, like a lot of the Bellator kids are WWE fighters. Yeah. They do
all sorts of shit.
Cross promotions with BKFC. They do cross promotions with a million different fucking companies. I mean,
yeah, afraid.
Yeah. I mean, and that just puts more eyes on that company because now you have more people of, hey, what does he go by now? Jack Hager. What is he doing? Oh, he's doing a wrestling event next week, and then 3 weeks after that, he's doing a Bellator fight.
Yeah, he's going to be cool. Jack Swagger in 2 weeks, and then a week after that, or 2 weeks after that, he's going back to being Jake Hager, and he's going to do MMA.
Yeah, like that. Like that just puts more eyes on the industry of MMA because you're turning more eyes into it. I mean, fuck
Bobby Lashley.
Yeah.
Bobby Lashley is a bad motherfucker in an octagon. I'll tell you what.
Yeah. I mean, it would be far beneficial for Ngannou to do something like that because sponsorship money, passive fucking income monthly.
Yeah, stable, fucking reliable, non-fight, warranted fucking income for sure. Yeah, definitely. But from there, interesting twist, UFC wise here. The UFC announced this week that they have officially let a pair of contracts expire and have not offered renewal options. Danilo Marquez, who we kind of expected based on that last performance, and Alexis Davis, who I do not think anyone really expected based off her last several good performances. I get it that they don't want to keep all the old dogs around forever, but at the same time, she was on like a 4-fight win streak or a 3-fight win streak here, and she was crushing fucking contenders left and right, eating prospects for breakfast. I'm not really sure where the decision to let her contract expire and not renew it came from. There was an article written about it earlier. She literally was one of the first ladies signed when they opened the women's side of the UFC and has been there since 2012. She's been there the entire fucking time. So why now, when she's on a win streak again, they've decided to not renew her contract? I don't know. Seemed a little weird. Danilo, I get. Marquez never really showed too much potential. There was glimpses, but nothing break the bank over or nothing bend backwards to fucking keep him over. But Alexis Davis getting let go does confuse me a little bit. We did get, excuse me, the medical suspensions from last week's UFC Vegas 48. When they're in Vegas, you generally expect them to be a little bit screwy, but this one, they'd been doing good for a while. And I think that's what the problem is. They've been making regular medical suspension, like logical medical suspensions for a while. So it makes sense that they had to throw one out of left field here. On a night where we really didn't see a whole lot of big injuries, 10 different fighters, I believe it was 10 out of 24 fighters or 10 out of 26 fighters are suspended for 6 months or until doctor's clearance. And basically everyone else is suspended until March 13th. So there's that. But the other thing that we've got real quick in the news here, Unfortunately, due to the fucking stupidity and insanity that has broken out across the globe in the last 48 hours, we got a report this afternoon that there are now 2 different sets of Brazilian fighters who are stuck, one set in Russia and one set in Ukraine, because after all this stupid shit went off, there was a fucking event in both places this last weekend, and both sets of gentlemen were competing in the event and then waiting after the event for their subsequent flight to go home. And all airports in the entirety of Central Europe and Eurasia have been completely shut down for, unfortunately, the foreseeable future, due to Vladimir Putin decided he wants to play a game of fucking Risk all of a sudden. So unfortunately now we've got Brazilians stuck in Russia during active wartime right now, and in Ukraine, where the majority of the active war zone actually is right now. So hopefully all of those gentlemen make it home safely and can get the fuck out of there. I know they are talking about getting crisis relief and evacuation teams in there ASAP to start helping people get the fuck out of there before shit really pops off. Too bad. So hopefully we can get them out of there and we get a better update to that story than we potentially could.
I hope they can get them out of there soon, but I highly doubt it.
I agree with you.
This is purely on what I've watched and taken in from news sources this week. If you look at where Ukraine is on the map, just to the east of it, you have Russia, of course. To the north, you have Belarus. Yep. Belarus is coming in with Russia off the north. Yeah. Russia is coming in from the east. So anything north of Ukraine and east, there are no flight patterns. Like, there's a flight tracker out there. You can see every flight going on in the world.
Bubble, yeah.
So from Ukraine, north through Belarus, all the way through the entirety of Russia off to the east, not a damn single flight. You can see flights going south, like between like Georgia and the northern part of Africa, and then going into Europe. All of that's still moving, but it's that Ukraine and north and east of there, no flight traffic at all.
Yeah, it literally has gridlocked global traffic across Europe through all this shit, and this is just the beginning of it. So unfortunately, this is one of those situations that is gonna get worse before it gets better. So
guaranteed.
Yeah, hopefully we can give them some kind of relief. If not, get them out of there and get them to some kind of fucking secure safety fucking place at the very minimum. That being said, though, that is what I've got for excuse me, for this week's news and recent events segment. If you are not familiar, this weekend, the reason I named the episode what I did is because if you look back last weekend, we basically had a multi-card breakdown of a day. Started out early, ended up late. Ironically, the UFC was the one that kicked off the earliest of the fights, and we ended the card with BKFC, of all things, tying up with Bellator. Well, I don't know how, why, or where, but this week the UFC decided that they were going to throw that reverse card down, and they were closing the fucking show out again. So this weekend, if you are looking for your punchy kicky schedule, it breaks down the major cards as follows. 8:30 a.m. tomorrow morning Eastern time, ONE FC Full Circle kicks off. It is not for the faint of heart. There are some fairly notable names on the card. Ong Sang is on there. De Ritter is on there. There's some good fights on this card, but it is at 7:30 a.m. Central Time. It is not for the faint of heart. It is definitely for the more hardcore amongst us. If you are not feeling like waking up at 7 o'clock in the fucking morning to watch Asian combat sports, on the other hand, relax. There's plenty more. This weekend, Saturday, kicks off at noon Eastern time with KSW 67, Philip DeFries versus Darko Stojic. former UFC fighter, now fighting for the KSW heavyweight belt over there. That card, again, is a smaller card, not a whole lot of names that the average casual is going to know, but again, some pretty fucking decent fights on that card overall. A little bit after that, 1 p.m. Eastern on Saturday, or excuse me, 1 p.m. Eastern on Friday. I apologize. I was looking at the wrong fucking thing here. 1 p.m. on Friday Eastern, 1 p.m. tomorrow. Bellator 275, the Bellator Dublin card, Mousasi versus Vanderford. Originally with Peter Quealy on the co-main event. He's since been pulled. They've got the 2 Irish ladies in the co-main event now. Again, not the greatest card overall, much like the other cards. Not every household is going to know everybody on there. Zabit Magomed Sharipov's brother is making his debut on that card as well, undefeated at 6-0. Another crazy fucking Russian wrestler with all the fucking Dagestani wrestle tricks that you're going to want to keep an eye on going forward. I'm telling you now. Featherweight, just like his fucking brother. So it's going to be real interesting to see how the apple may have fallen far from the tree or not over there. Couple interesting matches on that one overall, but then we've got Saturday evening rounded out, kicking off at 3 p.m. Central Time, 4 p.m. Eastern, the UFC Vegas 49 Fight Night, Makhachev versus Green now instead of Dariush kicking off. So you will have plenty punchy kicky to take you through this fine weekend. And for those of you who are familiar with the show, when we've got more than one person here besides myself, a little thing happens. You see the screen flash. You may know that this is the point during our broadcast where we go from a friendly banter to a little bit more competitive. Things get a little bit more serious when we enter the pit. So those of you watching the video will see that hellaciously demonic GIF flash across the screen to let you know that this is the point where things get head-to-head, clashy time, if you will. We take our friendly show and put a little bit of a competitive spin on things, keeping it lighthearted, though, because, you know, can't have things too serious on a fucking show like this. But we've got a multitude of cards. We've got a multitude of fights. So we're having an episode of The Pit, God damn it. Now, for our first glorious episode of The Pit of 2022, we come in with all things level across the board. There is no record as of yet for 2022, so everyone starts all things neutral this fine evening. So what we're going to do is we're going to go with a coin toss here. RJ, since you're the young gun here, you're going to call a coin toss, heads or tails?
Heads.
It is tails. Golf tee.
Don't you fucking know tails never fails? Come on, get with the program.
I wasn't going to tell him, but you know, okay.
It's all right. Maybe next year. Maybe next year.
We'll see. We'll see. So to kick things off, as we like to do around here, we have got a multitude of four notable major organizations. I believe there's 3 other minor organization cards going on this weekend as well. So with all of the punchy kicky we have got to look forward to this weekend, we start off with a Pit Classic. So many fights, so many cards. Who gives us the best co-main event to look forward to? Golf tee, open it up for us, please, sir.
That's a rough call, because to be quite honest, all of the fucking co-main events are meh at best. And I say meh at best because they are. Don't get me wrong, there's some notable names out there around the co-main events. Like, most everybody should know who Misha Serkinkov is. However, he's been pretty fucking meh as of lately. And if you're going over to fucking Bellator, who's the co-main event? We all forgot at this point, because why? They're only really pushing one fight over there, and that's the Vanderford Mousasi fight, because that's the only thing that is pushing that entire card, other than it being littered with a bunch of fighters from Ireland as they are in Dublin. So to be quite honest, best bang for your buck. I'm still going to go with the UFC on this because at least you know who Circumcoff is.
I can definitely understand that, and yeah, I've got to agree. It may not be the biggest name in the world, but most fight fans looking for something to watch this weekend will absolutely know Misha Cirkunov for damn sure. And if not, I bet a fair number of them are going to know Wellington Turnman because he's getting a decent drawing on his own as well. So yeah, I can see that.
Look, I do want to give I won't say credit where credit is due on this, but I do know on the Bellator card it is Sinead Kavanaugh and Leah McCourt over there.
Yeah.
That's their co-main event. Again, who the fuck are they? Oh, one's from Ireland. Makes sense. Got it.
Yeah, banking on that hometown. Yep. I can see. So with that, that'll bring us over to the other side of the house here. So RJ, for your first pit question of 2022, sir, with all of these cards we've got to look forward to this weekend, who's giving us the best co-main event?
I have to go a full fucking agreement with TJ. I mean, you have two fighters, one Misha Cirkunov, who's been in MMA for a good fucking bit of time, especially in a high level like the UFC, and Turnman, who hasn't done fucking that bad in the UFC, especially over the last two years, was really his time in the UFC. He's got 5 or 6 fights under his belt, 2 wins out of the I think he's 5 fights. This is his 6th. 2 wins out of the 3 or out of the 5, both pretty good fucking W's. Everybody else across the board, nobody's gonna know who the fuck they are. Yeah. Yes.
No, I can't. You can't say pretty good wins. He fucking split decision Smiling Sam Alvey. That is not a good win.
Yeah, dude, give credit where credit's due. A W is a fucking W.
I'm giving the credit, but I'm not saying that's a good win. That's all.
To be fair, he knocked out Dirty Sanchez. He knocked out Bruno Silva, and then he split decision Smiling Sam.
But either way, you know what? You're very entitled to your own opinion. I will not debate your own opinion with you.
But
I get it.
Yeah.
But yes, I am in agreement of that's probably the best co-main event we're going to get. And to be honest, still lackluster at best. So yeah, RJ, we're on the same page with that. I
mean, realistically, if I can speak freely here, not on my minute, every fucking card's a wash. Yeah. Do you want to know my most exciting, the fight I want to see the most?
We'll get to that. That's coming.
Yeah. Don't fill your diaper yet, son. We got a long night ahead of us. Relax. I know your bingo dauber is just itching and ready to fucking stamp, but you got to wait till they call the numbers, son. Wait.
Good analogy.
So that being said, one's carried, I's dotted, T's crossed. We are giving points for round 1 to Golf T Vapes on this one. So round 2, in the tradition we like to carry around here on the show, with round 1 generally opening with our best co-main, that follows only logically that for question 2, with all the cards we've got to look forward to, where is our best main event with 4 at least big name or bigger names, I'll say, on marquees across the venues that we've got this weekend? Where is the best main event to tune into? RJ, this one is yours first, sir.
I'm gonna stick to the UFC because I don't want to watch fucking Mousasi shit fuck Vanderford, because that's not that fucking exciting. I mean, Islam Makhachev and Bobby Green I find far more exciting than any other fucking main event, because this right here is really Makhachev's first fucking test, like hardcore test. Before that, it was his last fight, which was why can't I remember your first name? Jesus fuck. Hangman Hooker, Dan Hooker. There we go. I couldn't think of Dan's fucking 3 letters. That was his biggest fucking name to date. This is his toughest fucking opponent yet inside the UFC. So I'm much more excited to see this than any other main event.
I can understand it. It's a very interesting matchup for damn sure. So that being said, that brings us over to the other side of the house here. So Golf Tee, with at least 4 major cards and a couple of different minor cards to go through. Who do you think gives us our best main event this weekend?
I'm going to go a way that everybody thinks I'm not going to go. I don't care to watch Islam Makhachev wrestle fuck Bobby Green and get a submission on him. Don't get me wrong. I'm going to watch it. But what I do want to watch, and it's exciting to me, is to watch someone get exposed. I love watching people get exposed. Thus the reason I have to tune into Bellator, because we finally get to watch Vanford get fucking exposed, because they have literally fed him soup cans on his way to the fucking top. So it's time for him to get exposed by Mousasi. So I'm excited to watch somebody get exposed. So if you're going to watch anything, watch that, because you get to watch somebody get exposed. 11-0, he's going to be 11-1 at the end of this. And good on him for being 11-0 at this point, but no notable wins. No reason he should have gotten a title shot. But because he ran a good fucking string of wins together there, and he can talk his way into it. He did a great job, and kudos to that. So tune in over there to watch him get exposed. It's going to be worth your time, and it's on a Friday. And by the time they're done on Friday, it'll be 8 o'clock. You'll still have time to get to the fucking bar.
Very, very valid point. Very valid point indeed. I gotta say, as much as I am genuinely looking forward to seeing Vanderford get fucking worked, we are going to give points this time around to RJ here. I think the bigger fight is definitely Makhachev versus Green. I think the better entertainment is going to be Mousasi versus VanZanterford. But I think the bigger relevancy for the weekend comes down to Makhachev, because realistically, if Bobby Green can shut down Islam on 9 days notice, I think they said it was, that's a big deal. On the other hand, if Islam works Bobby Green as bad as he's talking this shit like he says he's going to, it's going to be real hard to deny Islam whatever the fuck he wants for his next fight, shy of the title being his next fight. He's basically going to write himself a blank check if he comes in and does what he says he's going to do. On the other hand, if Bobby Green comes in and whips his ass on a week and change notice, that fucking hype train is going off a cliff.
I think realistically, regardless if Bobby Green wins or loses, as long as he can give Makhachev a fucking discernible problem and a real challenge, I think he gets a W in his side, because nobody fucking has yet.
Yeah, I can see that as well.
He's already getting a W on his side anyway, because nobody else was willing to step up on a week and a half notice to take him on.
Yeah,
so,
very true.
Don't get me wrong. I don't want to say company man, because he's really not, but he wants to make entertaining fights. And if that means he has to come in on a week and a half, he will gladly do so.
He gets it. He gets it. He understands that you want the big money. You got to get yourself out there and make people see you. And this is a damn good way to do just that. So I get it for sure.
If he does lose, but he gives him a run for his money, that's double fucking golden stars on his fucking record there. Because to do it on a week and a half, if he gives him a good run for his money, that'll be fucking excellent. But I still think he's going to get wrestle fucked and submitted.
I do as well, but like we talked about it last week as well. There was a couple guys who stepped up on short notice to take fights for last weekend that they didn't win, and it was not a detriment to them by any stretch of the imagination. If anything, they actually came out of a loss looking good because they stepped up and made it fucking competitive on short notice, and it's appreciated. It's appreciated by the fighters. It's appreciated by the fans for sure. It's appreciated by the company. So yeah, if he can step up on 9 days fucking notice and make it competitive, at least Bobby can still come out a fucking winner on this. So we'll see for damn sure. I'm curious how it's going to play out. So with that being said, that will bring us to our round 3 question of the episode here. Round 3, we are asking you, gentlemen, with 4 major cards and multiple minor cards going on this weekend, surely there are a couple of fights that are getting overlooked by the press's magnifying glass that they tend to put on cards like this. So in your opinion, gentlemen, what is the dark horse fight of the weekend that people should absolutely be tuning into regardless of what else they watch? Galti, this one will be yours, sir. You gotta unmute first.
Son of a bitch. You know, this is.
I get it. It's the first bit of the year. You still got some jitters to work out. I get it.
Yes, I mean, and when my fucking sparring partner hasn't been here in fucking weeks, I lose fucking track of what's going on. I'm just saying, it's like he falls asleep after playing with a cat or something.
Hey, I'm telling you.
I'm just saying. Look, to ask what's an overlooked fight this week, this is kind of like picking between a giant douche and a turd sandwich. Because these cards are, to be quite honest, they're shit. All of them have at least one, I'll say, decent fight, but not any of them have an actual good fight. So, to be quite honest, you know what I'm excited to watch? The new guys. So we're talking like, let's go Bellator prelims, for example. You got Draga Kelly and Junior Morgan, both brand new into the MMA world. Kelly this is his first pro fight. Junior Morgan, he's 3 fights into his pro career. What more can you ask for? If you're going to have shitty cards, let's watch the guys who are just getting their starts. You can even say this about going on to the early prelims or the prelims in the fucking UFC. I mean, you got, let's go right at the beginning. Carlos Hernandez and Victor Altamirano, or I'm probably martyring his fucking name. But yeah, these guys, again, fairly fresh into their fucking pro careers. Don't get me wrong, Victor's got 11 fights, but you got Carlos Hernandez on the other side, 1 fight. I'm excited to watch these brand new guys. There's not enough hype behind them, and that's what they should be pushing this week is, hey, we've got a kind of a shitty card, but let's check out some of this new stuff that's going on here. And it's, got this new shiny stuff on the rack here. Now, is it fake or is it real? We're going to find out. So, to be honest, across the board, I can't pick one because, to be honest, it's shit cards. But I'm excited to see what these new guys bring to the table and see if any of them are going to be worth their weight. And I don't mean weight specifically, but, if they're going to do anything for the division or have any, what's the word I'm looking for here? Anything that they can bring to the table to make the divisions interesting.
I can agree with that. Definitely interesting to watch the new guys, and there are definitely several opportunities to see some brand new guys and gals this weekend upcoming.
And don't forget the UFC side, the opening fight for the main card is a debut fighter with 1 professional fight, Armin Petrosan versus, as I call him, Robama.
Yeah,
I mean, come on.
Yeah,
That's a debut fighter versus somebody that's been around for a little bit.
Yeah, that's a fantastic thing. That's what I'm talking about. That's the thing that they should be hyping the most, and we should be getting excited about is watching these new guys, especially with the cards like they have them this weekend. However, we're probably going to keep bagging on these cards, and we're going to end up with some real bangers because that tends to be the fucking case when we do that. However, still going to stay still all shit. Don't expect any fireworks.
Right. So, RJ, you now officially have your moment here. Your dark horse of the evening, sir, or weekend.
I am kind of going the route of TJ for the newer guys, but particularly one new guy who's only had one fight in the UFC that knocked out Matt Frivola in a beautiful 7 seconds with a right left fucking cross right to the fucking chin, followed by some hammer fist. Mr. T-Rex fucking Terrence McKinney. I'm excited to see what that motherfucker brings to the table in his second fight in the UFC, because that first one, that was quick and that was fucking clean. I'm excited to see what happens with his fucking second fight coming out, because that was I don't know if that was a fluke or if he just picked his fucking shots and they fucking landed. I do not know, because Matt Frivola dropped a guard as he stepped forward. So I don't know if those were fluke shots or if he knew something that we just didn't. I'm excited to see what he does.
Oh, yeah. You know what's surprising to me is that it took them fucking 7 months to get him a new fight. His fight was like fucking 7 seconds or 8 seconds or some shit.
Took no fucking damage in the middle of the summer, and they're just now getting him back.
Yeah,
it was last June.
Yeah.
Just saying, you're pretty sure you could have got him on a card somewhere in between there.
I absolutely agree with that. So, I got to say here, as much as I absolutely agree that the new guys, there are plenty of opportunity to see some potentially great new guys this weekend. Ironically enough, I was actually talking to my wife a little while ago before the show started here, when I made the Joe's Instagram page with the link to the show and all that good shit. A minute and a half, 2 minutes maybe after I made the post and I tagged all the fighters that I thought had a good chance of winning in it, the very first like that post got, not even fucking joking, Terrence McKinney. Like 2 fucking minutes after that post was up.
All right,
like
T-Rex, we're on your side, man. Let's do it.
That's, I was like, hey, you got I'm no Joe support, buddy. So yeah, we are giving points this round to RJ here for calling the good one on McKinney. I'm absolutely in agreement that the young guys are going to be good to watch, but I am fucking team T-Rex this weekend for damn sure.
Goddamn right. We're going to pull for you, man.
Fucking A.
Give us support. You got all my support, dude.
Damn right. Got to give it back for sure. So
don't let me down.
Right. Yes. As I say, that being said, don't fuck up.
Yes, please.
No pressure.
Right. No pressure at all. Don't fuck up.
Please.
I win if you want. We'll be here next week again. So if you want to stop by and say hello, feel free.
We'll remind you. Yeah.
Yeah. I talked about you for a solid minute and 19 seconds. Come bring it home.
There you go. So that being said, our round 4 here, we kind of flipped that coin over again, as it were here, with 4 cards, 4 headliners, 4 co-main events, and then generally 4 people's co-main events, and at least one quote unquote premiere or, featured fight somewhere else on the card. There's a lot of attention for a lot of fights, but it's focused very narrowly. So a lot of the time, some of the good ones, as we mentioned, get kind of skipped over, but then the opposite happens. Then that beam points in on one where we're just like, why are you even fucking looking? So that's what we're curious about for round 4 here. For round 4, what is your overhyped fight of the weekend? What is the one they won't stop fucking talking about and it doesn't matter? RJ, you get this one first, sir.
That's a real hard question, Meter. I'm just gonna go real broad stroke, real classic RJ on this particular answer. Take all of the Bellator card and all the UFC cards except like 2 fights. There's your answer. Everything's 90% of everything that happens on Bellator and UFC side. 80% of it's all overhyped. There's a couple good fights, cherry picking out. But that's pretty much fucking it. Everything is getting too much talk, and it's all unnecessary. The Vanderford fight on Bellator, that guy quite literally has done nothing with his fucking career except fuck somebody that makes a lot of money on OnlyFans. That's about it. That's his fucking pride and joy that he gets to rest his head on is OnlyFans, paid for my bed sheets. That's about it. On the flip of that, you have Mousasi, who's a fucking killer. There's too much hype on fucking Vanderford. You go to anything on the UFC except the fucking main event. It's all overhyped. Everybody's talking about it. Misha Serkinkov and Tournament, that might be a good fight. Tournament is 2 for 5, and Serkinkov is kind of on a slope as of late. His performance is really fucking tanked over the last year. Everything's fucking overhyped now. At least this weekend, going on the 2 big name cards that everybody will look at, because those are the ones that everybody knows the fucking name of. It's all overhyped.
I will agree with the exception of one correction. Fansant.com, not a sponsor.
Oh, she's off of OnlyFans now?
Yeah, no, she's got her own independent thing. It's the same exact principle, same layout, same everything, but now she controls the domain. So
and then she doesn't get 25% taken off top. Good for you. Good for you. Clearly we know who has the pants in the relationship.
Right. Or at least who pays for them. That being said, we'll flip that over to the other side of the house here. Golf tee, with all of these fucking plethora of fights we have this weekend, which one, in your opinion, is just overhyped beyond acceptability, sir?
I'm going to go the opposite side of the house here. Say it is the UFC's main event. Because Bobby Green has taken this on short notice, and good on him, they have hyped the ever-living fuck out of this. All I've seen for the last week and a half now is everybody talking to Bobby Green, fucking talking to Islam Makhachev's corner. I don't hear anything else about any other fights on the fucking UFC card, which is very saddening because there's a lot of up-and-comers out there that they should be talking to so we can learn some more about them, their practices, things of that nature. So that way we can get a little more insight to what these guys are going to bring to the UFC. But instead, we're only going to get half of that. And I say half of that because half of them are fighting other newcomers. And that half that we're going to get is one guy's going to get a post-fight interview in the octagon. The other is not. So, I'm saying way overhyped. And we already know, we pretty much know the outcome of how that fight is going to play out. But it's overhyped just purely because somebody took it on short notice. And to be honest, that's not a good enough reason to fucking hype a main event.
Yeah, no, I absolutely agree here. As soon as Bobby signed on the dotted line, their whole focus switched to, and instead of the card before the pay-per-view, it's Bobby Green's show, Bobby Green's opportunity to step up and be the guy here. I do agree with RJ. For the most part, the vast majority of what is going on this weekend is overhyped because it's not fucking great. But that main event, I agree. They went above and beyond to do fucking ridiculous hyping just for that main event. So we are going to give points for that round to TJ for sure on that one.
And don't get me wrong, with the Bellator card, that Vanderford fucking Mousasi fight is way overhyped as well. Just that, fuck that fight in itself. How they've turned that into a fucking pay-per-view card, basically. Don't know, because it's fucking terrible.
Yeah, it's hideous.
I do want to say one thing that UFC put up on Instagram for presser for Bobby Green that I absolutely love that they did. Talking about Bobby Green and his like history in life, how he didn't have a dad and how he was an orphan and everything. UFC, thank you for putting that up. That is super inspirational for kids that grew up in foster homes and orphanages. I absolutely love that that was done. Fucking hats off to you. Fucking kudos. Thank you for doing that.
Yeah. Nice of them to put some kind of a positive spin on their bullshit machine for a change. For sure. But with that being said, for any of you following along that can maths, that means we are all tied up and we now go in to round 5, the sudden death round. Winner take all, 1 point determines the game here. Round 5, question unlike the predecessors, a little bit out of left field is how we do things around here. So round 5 is a little bit different. Golfy, being as how you've got the winning coming off of this one, you will get this one first here. So our question for round 5, gentlemen, we are coming up close. Words are hard live sometimes. Coming close to the approach of the end of the first quarter of the UFC's programming lineup, as it were. Staring down the barrel of Q2 coming at us here in just a matter of weeks, meaning that here, before we know it, it's going to be July, and we are going to be peering directly down the sights of International Fight Week, which Dana has already said this year will be the biggest International Fight Week the UFC has ever done, barring anything like World War III or Backstreet Boys flaring up even worse. So, assuming Vlad calms the fuck down, and assuming tickets start to decline for the reunion tour, and we have some semblance of normality as we approach July, my question for you, gentlemen, who headlines International Fight Week? What's the fight that they build that giant UFC card around? Golf T, this one will start with you, sir.
That they build the card around
That one big fight, yeah.
You know, had it not been for the shit that happened last year, I would say it would end up being a Conor McGregor headlined card. However, with him breaking a leg, losing twice and breaking a leg, there's no way that they let him headline a card. Chances are he'll probably be on pay-per-view right before that or right after. One of the two. Probably somewhere in that time frame. But guaranteed he won't be at lightweight. To be quite honest, as much as I hate to say this, with the way it's playing out, I think it's going to be a Kamaru Usman fucking headline card. Because, let's see. And you got to look at that specific division to figure out who are they going to pair him against. Because, I mean, right now, they have him listed as the pound-for-pound fucking king as far as fighters are concerned. He's not going to fight Colby because he's beat him twice. I doubt we'll see Burns. Chances are they will probably have him, barring whatever fucking happens with Leon. I have a feeling it'll be him and Leon headlining because tomorrow, pound for pound king, Leon's one of the few people he hasn't fought in that fucking division. That could be our matchup that they build a card around for International Fight Week because, well, you always want to throw your big cards out there. And if that's your pound for pound king, that's who you go to. As much as I hate to say it because I'm not a fan, but I have a feeling that's where it's headed. And let me just add this in here. If they can manage to keep Francis, they may add Francis on there as well as the headliner against some other heavyweight to be determined. And I say to be determined because it could be, let's throw him at Tai Tuivasa because Tai Tuivasa just knocked out Derek Lewis, and that would be a banger of a knockout fest. So there is that possibility, but that's if he stays with the UFC. But right now, with the way things are playing out currently, I would have to go tomorrow, right?
You know, I will say it is extremely ironic that that's what you chose, because there was a story this week. I sure as fuck wasn't going to talk about it on the show, but there was a story this week. Somebody asked Dana over the weekend what they're going to do with Leon. And Dana said, with everything going on, Leon's next, because Burns is booked with Khamzat. Burns is booked with Khamzat. Jorge's already fucking, doing his bullshit. He's already been beat twice. Colby's already been beat twice.
And that's why I said barring what happens with Burns. Because if Khamzat comes in there and fucking destroys him, they'll throw Leon to the fucking wind and let fucking Khamzat.
He does what he did to fucking the Leech. If he picks him up and carries him to Dana and fucking finishes him in 30 seconds while he's talking, you're right. They'll absolutely jump that fucking match into no time.
Well, yeah, and they'd have every right to at this point because the dude's a fucking money train. To be quite
who
honest.
Else? Yeah. No, I agree. But yeah, I do think that I think there's a real good chance that the reason that he made a point to mention just this week that they are working on Leon and Kamaru next is because we're a couple months out here. So this is about the point where you got to get contracts ready so somebody can have a couple, good 8-12 week fight camp for a title fight for sure. Could be. So, RJ, that kicks it back over to you, sir. International Fight Week's in July. Contract season is upon us. Who do you think gets the big fight to bring us that International Fight Week in July headline?
Okay, so I was thinking an Usman fight because he hasn't fought for a little bit. Then, whenever you think International Fight Week, there's always more than one title up. Always more than one. So, TJ already called Usman. I'm calling. I guess what I would love to see. I would love to see my light heavyweight guy, Glover, fight on International Fight Week.
Yeah,
I would love to see that one because he hasn't fought since he got that fucking title.
Yeah.
I would love to see him. I don't give a fuck who it is. That would be a fucking burner. They can run it back with fucking Jan. They can do how the fuck do you say his name?
Yuri Prohaska.
Yes. They could run that. That'd be a fucking banger fight. Rakic would be a good fucking fight for him.
Rakic just got hurt.
Oh fuck, he did. Oh fuck. Oh. Who else is up there?
They were gonna do Rakic versus Blachowicz, and then Rakic got hurt and had to pull out.
Can we see Anthony Smith get his fake teeth knocked out?
Again?
I was gonna say,
Rankings.
I don't know that he's got the momentum behind him, but I'm sure he'd be game for it.
I mean, he's number 4. I mean, that's.
But he also got his teeth knocked out.
Yeah, yeah. But I mean, like Teixeira and Usman on a card, that would be a pretty fucking banger fight week because everybody else is kind of already spoken for over the last couple of months. You have Oliveira fought in December. You just had Izzy.
Izzy could fight again though. And
yeah.
I left him out knowing he just fought but he didn't take much damage. I mean, he did get hit from Whitaker, but not bad.
Not hurt bad. No.
So I mean, in theory, this isn't part of my answer at all, but in theory, we could see the Izzy Cannonier fight happen during International Fight Week. They could 3 title fight this thing.
Yeah, they sure the fuck could, especially if they're gonna do it in Abu Dhabi.
Yeah. I mean,
I feel like we would be remiss as a whole, as a group, if we didn't mention getting Shevchenko on there somewhere or Rose.
Well, and for honorable mention's sake, I have a crazy idea that is absolutely crazy, but if you think about it, especially in terms of UFC logic, it also kind of makes sense. And there's been rumbles about it in the last week or two as well. Non-title fight. Dominic Cruz versus Jose Aldo at 135 pounds.
Oh, that could definitely be an international fight week. I
Yeah.
can't see it. I don't think they would let that headline. Don't mean because look, okay, they've done stranger shit, but I don't think it would be fucking with the amount of titles that they have available right now that don't have lined up fights. That would be a bit of a stretch to put that as a headliner, but I can definitely see that on the fucking card. Like they could really stack that fucking card if they wanted to.
Yeah.
I mean, like realistically, I know they probably won't, but I mean, it'd be pretty nice to see a couple more than 2 titles up on it in International Fight Week.
Yeah,
but
they've done it before.
Yeah, I wouldn't be mad with them pushing back Yan and fucking Aljo.
Yeah,
because that's scheduled for April, at the beginning of April. They could push that back a little bit and make fight week.
True, very true. But they've already pushed that fight back twice, so I don't think that one's getting moved again. I think that's kind of locked in where it's at.
Yeah.
No, definitely some interesting potential here. So we are going to round our numbers here, and we are going to give the point for round 5 and the first official pit win of 2022 to Golf T Vapes. I think you were right on the money. I think the fact that Dana was specifically talking this week about how they're going to get the Leon and Kamaru shit back on, and the fact that now's the time they've got to get those July fights booked. Yeah, I think you're right on the money there. I think we're definitely looking at a good chance to see Usman defend his belt for International Fight Week.
Even a blind squirrel finds a nut once in a while, because I did not watch that press conference, so I have no fucking clue about that.
Yeah, no, it was a little interview he did this weekend that he was talking about it. So yeah, it's damn good coincidence.
Yeah. Even a blind squirrel finds a nut once in a while. Even the sun shines on a dog's ass every now and then. And the list goes on here.
Oh, but that being said, that is all we have got for this particular episode of the I'm No Joe podcast. We appreciate each and every one of you, whether you are tuned in, catching this live Thursday nights on the I'm No Joe YouTube channel, or you are listening to us on the week later replay in the all audio format broadcast through anchor.fm/I'm No Joe through your podcast consumption platform of choice. Either way, we appreciate you. So, before we get the hell on out of here, if at this point folks have not figured out who the fuck you are, RJ, how can the folks get a hold of you after the show and figure out who the fuck is this guy?
If you want to try and figure out who I am and where I've been for like 2 months, you can hit me up over at RJ MMA Official on the Instagrams. Barring my sister, because apparently she watches this still, and she recently found me on Instagram, so fuck you. But you can find me over there, RJ MMA Official. You can find me in our Discord group, which is rolling down in the link, rolling down on the bottom of the screen and down in the link in the descriptions. Reddit, the r/I'm No Joe Reddit. I do go over there and look at that every now and then. I have it saved on a hotbar on my computer. I'm fucking stupid sometimes. I love Reddit. But yeah, you can find me at all of those great places, and here every Thursday and on Sundays. Yeah. Thank you for having me. Good to be back. It's good to get back in the rotation and not fall asleep under my recliner, hoping my head gets crushed.
Glad to have you back, brother. Glad to have you back. So that being said, at this point, if folks need themselves a little directions on where they could possibly find themselves some tasty fried cheese curds and maybe directions to get themselves a Kenosha Crippler sighting, how can they get a hold of you after the show, Golf T?
Of course, here every Thursday, Wednesday nights, my channel, Golf T Vapes. You can get me up on the Instagrams, Golf T Vapes. Then also, I don't know if it was so much who the fuck is this guy, or more the fuck is, he looks familiar, but we haven't seen him in a while. What's his fucking name, guy? Well, you know, that's neither here nor there. I'm not gonna lie, I'm glad to have the sparring partner back. I needed to polish up, and to be honest, today definitely needs some polishing. So sorry, folks, that was a fucking terrible showing. But you know, that's what you get when your sparring partner just up and disappears, quits the gym for a while, then moseys back in like nothing fucking happened.
What are you gonna do? But thank you very much. Always glad to have you here as well. That being said, boys and girls, we are going to call it all for this particular episode. We appreciate you tuning in. If you appreciate what we do, give us a thumbs up. Make sure you're subscribed on whatever platform you're consuming this. Hit the notification bells if the platform allows it. On the other hand, if you don't like what we're doing, why the fuck are you still here 2 hours into a podcast you don't fucking like? Give us a thumbs down. Fuck off. We're not even going to dispute it. We'll take it and we'll go along with it. That said, if you really want to help out around here, patreon.com/I'mNoJoe is the best way to do it. Gives you access to behind the scenes, unaired and literally unairable footage that we've got here in the I'm No Joe channel, and it helps us do what we do. So with that said, we're calling that all for this particular episode. Until next time, boys and girls, remember, don't let ignorance stop you. You can root for anything. Unless it's the end of the USSR, apparently. Fuck's sake.
Everybody was kung fu fighting. Those kids were fast as lightning. In fact, it was a little bit frightening.
How do I say goodbye to what we had? The good times.